Imagine an anime that mixes supernatural possessions, teenage drama, horny aliens, and a generous dose of pure insanity, all stitched together into a story that, against all odds, became one of the biggest hits in recent years. It's so crazy, even David Lynch would probably pause, scratch his head and go, "Who the hell wrote this?" With just 2 seasons released and already wrapping up over 100 million global views, this series has become the breakout phenomenon of the year, even outshining Attack on Titan in Reddit discussions, which is practically a miracle considering that place turns every anime into a digital civil war every 15 minutes. So today, we're diving headfirst into the madness of this anime, covering everything from the explosive first encounter between Momo and Okarun to the epic battles against creatures that look like they crawled straight out of H.P. Lovecraft's worst nightmares. But before we strap in for this emotional roller coaster of belly laughs and existential horror, did you know it all started with one of the most naive bets in anime history? A seemingly innocent challenge that spiraled into an interdimensional war, where aliens are obsessed with reproductive organs and ghost steel. Well, maybe we shouldn't talk about that just yet. Yeah, Dandadan is so unhinged. It feels like it was written by a sleep-deprived teenager locked in a Nevada basement after binge-reading conspiracy theories about Area 51 for 3 days straight. And the scariest part? It actually kinda makes sense. And what better place to start this glorious madness than with that brutal first episode, where 2 completely opposite teenagers find out that not only ghosts are real, but so are aliens, and both have disturbingly specific plans for the human race. Momo had just been dumped, like an old delivery app no one uses anymore. Fed up with the world, the universe, and especially with useless boys, she ends up face to face with the last person she ever expected to talk to, a nerd obsessed with aliens who looks like he crawled straight out of a deep web conspiracy forum.
Unidentified aerial phenomena!
I didn't ask, don't care.
Things heat up fast. He swears up and down that aliens are real. She's convinced ghosts exist. The argument escalates into the kind of fight that can only end one way, with a bet that'll change their lives forever. The rules? Simple. Each one will step into the other's nightmare territory to prove their point. The loser becomes the winner's lackey, like one of those shady contracts you sign without reading and instantly regret. Momo heads off to an abandoned building infamous for unexplained disappearances. Meanwhile, the guy, who she's already nicknamed Occult Boy, heads toward a tunnel so creepy it'd give Stephen King nightmares. During a call between this desperate duo, Momo casually drops a major bombshell. Her grandma's a real deal medium, not the talk show kind, like chaps with the dead over breakfast legit, and out of respect for her granny, she believes in spirits. Back in the tunnel, Occult Boy learns the hard way that reading about the supernatural and meeting it are 2 very different things. Enter Turbo Granny, a vengeful ghost ripped straight out of a horror anthology. She's not into philosophical debates. She goes full poltergeist, curses the boy, and let's just say he loses something very important. And no, it wasn't his house keys. Across town, Momo's in her own hellish encounter, abducted by aliens called the Serpoians, who have very specific and deeply disturbing plans for her reproductive organs. Because in the world of Dandadan, everyone wants a piece of you. Literally. Just when all seems lost, something snaps inside Momo. Maybe it's that badass medium gene from her grandma. Maybe it's pure rage. Her psychic powers explode like a glitter bomb at a kid's party.
Perhaps the female human's brainwaves were overstimulated, granting access to her chakra.
Back on Earth, reality hits harder than a post-carnival hangover. Both ghosts and aliens are realer than credit card debt. Occult Boy is permanently cursed. Momo has awakened her psychic abilities, and Turbo Granny shows up in a vision with an ominous invitation. Come find me in the tunnel if you dare. Despite the obvious danger, Momo refuses to let the boy go alone. He finally introduces himself as Ken Takakura, and together they prepare for the next insane step in this supernatural roller coaster. Little did they know, this was just the appetizer. The full course horror, it was only getting started. Turbo Granny's curse is like a computer virus. It kicks in during the day and there's no antivirus that can stop it. Ken, now officially going by Okarun, since Momo isn't one for formalities, learns this the hard way when he tries to enter her house. The property's front gate turns into an instant barbecue grill, and he nearly ends up as human bacon. Relax, Momo says, pulling him inside. It's just Grandma's anti-demon barrier, like a firewall, but for evil spirits. In her room, the conversation takes an unexpectedly deep turn. Okarun drops the mask and confesses the raw truth. His obsession with aliens was just a desperate way to try and make friends, like someone pretending to love football just to fit in, only way more hardcore otaku. Momo doesn't sugarcoat it. The problem's not the world, it's you who keeps pushing everyone away. Then she drops a bombshell.
I won't ignore you because you tell me to. Who will I talk to about weird paranormal things?
The romantic tension gets cut short by a creepy doorbell. No, it's not the delivery guy. It's the special bell for supernatural visitors. Because of course the house has two, one for humans and one for ghosts. Plot twist. Momo forgot to reattach the protective talisman to the gate. The result? A colossal, shadowy figure appears out of nowhere, summoning a stone wall that traps them inside their own yard. Okarun identifies the creature, the Flatwoods monster, basically an alien that looks like it was sketched by a kid after watching a horror movie. And yes, it was sent by the same creeps from the abandoned building. The dilemma is real. Momo can't fight and suppress Okarun's curse at the same time. It's like trying to drive while texting, technically possible, but bound to end in disaster. The solution? Risky as hell, like investing in crypto with borrowed money. Momo decides to unleash the curse inside Okarun's body, letting him tap into Turbo Granny's power, while he tries to keep his mind intact. It's like handing your drunk friend the car keys. But 1,000 times worse. Okarun transforms, gaining superhuman speed and strength, but his personality shifts into that of a brooding teen who probably blasts indie rock at full volume. He injures the alien, but his human body can't handle the power. It's like trying to run Cyberpunk on a 2010 PC. With the battle at a standstill, Momo gets an idea straight out of an anime. Defeat the monster sumo style by forcing its hand to touch the ground. The plan works, but the alien had a hidden trick up its sleeve. Because of course it did. Furious at the cosmic cheating, Momo takes over the fight, luring the creature away from Okarun. But that was the plan all along, to step outside the range of the Torii gate and reattach the protective talisman. The barrier comes back up, the Flatwoods monster disintegrates, and Momo collapses into Okarun's arms, like the end of a 90s rom-com. The battle's been won, but the war? Oh, it's just getting started. And something tells me the next enemies won't be nearly as polite. Momo confronts a TV psychic on the street, who immediately threatens her to scram from the area. Plot twist, no one saw coming. The psychic is actually her grandma, who by the way looks younger than Jennifer Lawrence. Back home, Grandma Seiko is literally ghost hunting in the dining room like it's just another Tuesday. With a protective nail probably worth more than your paycheck, she draws a circular barrier that traps the spirit like a lost Pokemon. The ghost throws out the classic B-movie villain threat.
If you kill me, the boy I cursed dies with me. You want that?
Seiko couldn't care less and exorcises the creature without even blinking. Peak Japanese cold-blooded efficiency. Momo wakes up and freaks out, thinking Grandma just turned Okarun into cursed teen mashed potatoes. But surprise, he's alive, just locked away in a temple room like a faulty product on recall. The truth comes out. Seiko didn't kill anyone. She just put the curse on ice temporarily. The real problem? Turbo Granny fused with a territorial spirit in the tunnel and turned into a final boss-type entity, invincible on her home turf. And since Seiko's powers only work at home, like Wi-Fi with terrible range, she can't handle it directly. The solution? A supernatural game of tag that would make even a 5-year-old question the adult's sanity. They need to lure Turbo Granny out of the city limits, where she's weak like a dying phone battery. Problem: Okarun has the stamina of a sedentary programmer, and Momo's powers are as unstable as a reality TV relationship. Seiko becomes both personal trainer and spirit coach. Okarun is thrown into a workout regime that would make any gym jealous, while Momo learns to control her psychic abilities without leveling half the town. During a rare heartfelt break, Momo apologizes for being selfish during the alien fight. Hallmark moment is cut short by a real crisis. Okarun needs to pee, but Momo can't take her eyes off him or the curse reactivates. Guided by Seiko, Momo is forced to develop a new skill, tracking Okarun's aura by touch alone, with her eyes closed. It's like playing a video game in total darkness. Technically doable, but you're gonna die. A lot. The piece lasts shorter than a politician's promise. Turbo Granny possesses Seiko through a phone call, because apparently spirits upgraded their tech, and reveals her newest trick. The curse is now contagious. Anyone Okarun looks at will be cursed and die. It's like having Cyclops' power from X-Men, except 1,000 times worse, and without the cool shades. The final ultimatum: they must head to the tunnel tonight, or Turbo Granny will use Okarun as a supernatural bioweapon. Decked out in protective gear that looks like off-season carnival costumes, the duo boards the train to Shono. Along the way, Momo swaps her gear for her own clothes, declaring that fashion is her true armor. And let's not forget, Turbo Granny once called her tacky Rocky. That personal insult fuels a rage that would make the Hulk look chill. The train speeds through the night toward the final showdown. The dark tunnel welcomes them like a gateway to their own personal hell. The plan sounds simple on paper. Lure Turbo Granny out of Shono, away from the spirit that gives her god-tier powers, and take her down on neutral ground. In practice, well, you'll see. The form that materializes before them makes every urban legend look like a bad joke. Turbo Granny is way bigger than any story ever suggested. Kind of like seeing a celebrity in person and realizing how much smaller they looked on TV. As the massive spirit gears up to turn them into team paste, Momo channels her power like never before. In a chess master level move, she lifts the curse on Okarun, restoring his stolen manhood and, in the process, cutting off the yokai energy that powered him. Turbo Granny is livid at having her own power used against her. It's like getting defeated by your own weapon, humiliating and painful. To buy time, Okarun does what any desperate teen would do. He taunts the ancient entity into a race. The rules? Tag. You're it. With a 10-minute head start, Turbo Granny agrees, but counts the minutes like seconds, because even ancient spirits can be trolls. Okarun morphs into his yokai form to flee, but here comes the plot twist. Turbo Granny's true form, a massive spectral crab, spiritually latches onto Momo. Now Okarun has to carry Momo and a ghost crab on his back while trying to escape. It's like giving an Uber ride to a spirit that wants to kill you. He burns one of his 2 max speed bursts, but it's not enough to break out of the city limits. Like trying to escape Times Square traffic. No matter how fast you go, you're still stuck. As Okarun starts to falter, Momo comes up with a plan that blends culinary science and battlefield tactics. Lure the crab into the local hot springs. The strategy? Boiling water stiffens a crustacean's muscles, leaving it paralyzed like a steamed clam. It works flawlessly. The crab goes stiff, officially cooked, but when they make it out, the streets are crawling with a horde of spirits under Turbo Granny's control. It's like Black Friday, but undead, and way deadlier. With no other choice, Okarun uses his final speed burst, vaulting over the mob in full-on extreme parkour mode. They land near a bullet train line, and Momo has the wildest idea of the night. Latch onto a 120 km per h bullet train. Her psychic powers lock onto the train like Batman's grappling hook. And Turbo Granny, still tethered to them, is yanked out of Shono kicking and screaming. Cut off from her power source, her form dissolves like smoke in the wind. Back at Seiko's house, the truth comes out in a conversation that changes everything. Turbo Granny was drawn to the spirits of murdered girls, and the only way to bring peace was by force. The crab dinner that follows tastes like bitter irony. Okarun completely loses his appetite, for obvious reasons. A bizarre attempt by Seiko to cheer him up sends him running like a traumatized kid. At their goodbye, Momo stops him. The air turns heavy with unsaid feelings, words caught in their throats, hearts pounding like taiko drums. The awkward farewell leaves everything open-ended. Is it a final goodbye or just a see you tomorrow? Okarun gives a shy smile. See you tomorrow. But something tells me their tomorrow would be a lot messier than they expected. The first day back at school after their supernatural adventure feels like returning to work after a vacation abroad. Everything seems smaller and painfully mundane. Okarun and Momo are consumed by peak teenage anxiety. They both want to get closer, but the fear of rejection has them frozen like deer in headlights. When they finally try to talk, the conversation is more awkward than dial-up internet. At lunch, a rom-com level misunderstanding unfolds. Each one thinks the other is avoiding them, so they start scouring the school like it's Pokemon Go, only they're hunting each other. The frustration builds exponentially until they literally collide in the school courtyard.
Ow! There you are!
The relief of seeing each other again lasts for all of 3 seconds before Momo's friends show up, cracking those classic, inappropriate, when are you two gonna kiss jokes. The teasing sparks a defensive argument that escalates fast. In the heat of the moment, they declare they're done talking to each other and storm off like stars in a telenovela. The regret hits instantly and hard. Okarun tries to apologize, but catches Momo in front of her friends. Cornered by the social pressure, she brushes him off with a coldness that hits harder than a yokai punch. Okarun walks away crushed, thinking she's ashamed of being seen with him. On his way out, he bumps into a girl who pretends to be nice but mocks him behind his back like a classic high school movie mean girl. Momo sees it happen, gets jealous, and uses her powers. A metal wash basin falls from the sky and knocks the girl out cold in a moment of perfectly timed cosmic justice. Momo finds Okarun, and they apologize at a speed that would make Formula 1 jealous. But then Okarun drops a plot twist no one saw coming. His testicles are gone. In the excitement of thinking the curse was broken, he forgot to check his personal inventory. It's like winning the lottery and realizing you lost the ticket. Cue an epic race to Grandma's house. She senses a hidden entity inside Okarun, like a digital parasite. What follows feels part exorcism, part medical checkup. Armed with a paper fan and a doll as high-tech anti-ghost gear, Seiko guides Momo to use her psychic abilities with surgical precision. When Grandma smacks Okarun with the fan, a glowing aura appears around him like a video game shader. Momo focuses, grabs the spiritual energy, and successfully extracts it, sealing it inside the doll like a captured Pokemon. The final revelation? The entity inside the doll is Turbo Granny's consciousness. She escaped destruction by transferring her astral form into Okarun's body, where she's been slowly regaining power like a virus in sleep mode. When they threaten to destroy her, she plays her trump card. She's the only one who knows where Okarun's balls are. Without her, they'll vanish forever into the supernatural void. But Grandma spots the flaw in her plan. Only her consciousness is inside the doll. Her power is still in Okarun. It's like separating software from hardware. One doesn't work without the other. A deal is proposed. Okarun's golden balls in exchange for reuniting her consciousness with her power. Backed into a corner like a rat in a maze, Turbo Granny confesses the truth that breaks everything. She has no idea where Okarun's balls are. She lost them, and there's a dangerous woman on her way. The plot just got 1,000 times more complicated. Searching for Okarun's testicles turns out to be even more pointless than trying to find free Wi-Fi at an airport. Turbo Granny, now affectionately nicknamed Phantom Cat, because even ancient spirits deserve cute nicknames, explains that the life energy contained in the family jewels attracts yokai and evil spirits like moths to a flame. At school, some idiot classmate questions Okarun about his relationship with Momo and spreads a rumor so offensive it would make any decent person lose their cool. Okarun snaps, in a rage that even he didn't know he had, and confronts the guy with a level of aggression that shocks everyone, including himself. Ashamed of his own reaction, he starts avoiding Momo like a vampire dodging garlic. She's furious about his sudden cold shoulder, until a friend tells her he fought to defend her honor. Meanwhile, Ira, the most popular girl in school with an ego the size of the Statue of Liberty, stumbles upon one of the golden testicles. In a full-blown vanity trip, she takes it as a divine sign that she's been chosen to purge evil from the world. Her first suspect? Momo, obviously, because logic isn't exactly a strength for people who think alien artifacts pick their bearers. Ira ropes her friends into an exorcism mission that feels more like a reality TV episode. Among the sacred items she gathers is a lighter she mistakes for a crucifix, because apparently religious knowledge isn't her strong suit either. During the Save the World operation, she spots a mysterious woman in a red dress and instantly assumes it's a familiar spirit summoned by Momo to spy on her. Paranoia level, master. Okarun and Momo finally track down Ira, who confronts them with all the melodrama of a shoujo anime protagonist. She accuses Momo of being a demon and reveals she's holding the golden testicle like it's some bizarre version of the Lord of the Rings. That's when the woman in red crashes the party. Plot twist. She's not a familiar at all. She's the acrobatic Silky, a yokai who calls Ira her long-lost daughter and claims she can finally see her again. The creature attacks at ninja speed, using her hair like climbing ropes to immobilize Okarun and declaring she's taking Ira with her for a very unsettling family reunion. The yokai is obsessively fixated on Ira, demanding to be called mommy in a supernatural Oedipus complex that would give Freud nightmares. She accuses Ira of abandoning her like a neglected child. Amid the chaos, Phantom Cat shouts from Okarun's backpack that the thing is a yokai and Ira is in mortal danger. Enraged by the interruption, the acrobat swallows Okarun whole like a bite-sized snack. Then she turns to Ira, who calls her a monster with the full honesty of a terrified teenager. Feeling betrayed by her daughter, the creature gulps her down too. With perfect timing, Phantom Cat announces the fatal flaw. Along with Momo, the yokai accidentally swallowed part of her own hair. Inside the creature's stomach, probably the grossest place in the universe, Momo realizes Ira's crucifix is actually a lighter. She sparks a flame, igniting the yokai's hair from the inside like a malfunctioning barbecue grill. The acrobat screams in pain and spits out Okarun and Ira, who hit the ground dazed but alive, and probably traumatized for life. Free at last, Okarun and Momo prepare to strike back, while Ira, now fully aware of the reality of yokai and spirits, decides to join their fight. But something tells me this battle is far from over, and the acrobatic Silky won't give up her makeshift family that easily. Okarun carries Ira in her arms like a terrified baby, with Momo following close behind. They're being chased by the acrobatic Silky, who's pursuing filling them with the obsession of a stalker, dead set on devouring the girl so they can be together forever. Momo has a rare stroke of tactical genius. He realizes the creature's hair, sticking to everything, is getting tangled in the environment like a 90s landline cord. He lures her into a perfect trap, and the spirit ends up completely ensnared in her own strands. As acrobatic Silky struggles to break free with brute strength that would make the Hulk jealous, Momo calls for the final blow. Okarun confesses he doesn't know how to fight, which is kind of a problem when you're facing a supernatural monster, but under pressure, he channels Turbo Granny's power and delivers a kick that knocks the spirit out like a UFC technical knockout. With the threat neutralized, Momo finds the golden orb with Ira, recovering one of Okarun's lost testicles. Victory, celebration, and then a devastating discovery.
This here girlie's dead.
Turbo Granny explains with scientific coldness, ordinary humans don't survive a Yukai attack. It's like surviving a plane crash. Statistically unlikely. Attempts to revive her fail miserably, but then, in an anime-worthy plot twist, acrobatic Silky awakens and offers a solution that sounds too good to be true. She'll transfer her own aura to bring the girl back to life. Momo only agrees after Turbo Granny confirms the ghost mom is telling the truth, and threatens to crush her head if it turns out to be some supernatural prank. Using her powers like a spiritual internet cable, Momo creates a bridge between the two auras. During the process, the ghost mother regains her memories and realizes the devastating truth. Her pain turned her into a monster who hurt the one she loved most. Consumed by regret intense enough to make anyone cry, her essence begins to dissolve, destined for eternal oblivion in the cosmic void. In a final moment, Ira's spirit appears to comfort the ghost mother, declaring her love in a scene that would melt a heart of stone. Deeply moved, Momo channels all her energy to grant both souls peace, guiding them to the afterlife like a spiritual Uber. Ira wakes up, alive, breathing, probably confused, but definitely not dead. Back at Grandma's house, post-trauma recovery kicks off with tea and cookies. Ira wakes up in full-blown paranormal detective mode and confronts Momo with accusations that would make any X-Files agent proud. She's fully convinced Momo is a real demon, puppeteering Okarun through some supernatural mind control scheme. Declaring herself the official protector of Earth, chosen by the heavens to thwart Momo's evil plans, Ira dives headfirst into her self-imposed mission. Okarun tries to deny everything, but to Ira, he's already a victim of demonic brainwashing. She vows to set him free, like a magical girl heroine who takes herself way too seriously. Later on, with help from Turbo Granny, who's now moonlighting as a part-time spiritual consultant, Okarun manages to retrieve one of his power spheres through a bizarre ritual that involves precision throwing. With part of his strength restored but no clue where the other half is, Okarun feels the urgency to get stronger. The catch, he decides to train in secret to protect Momo without her knowing, because clear communication is obviously not a skill anime protagonists are known for. He feeds Momo a flimsy excuse about a school report to get away. She doesn't buy it for a second, and her suspicion that he's hiding something starts growing faster than credit card debt. While he's off doing a training montage that'd make any personal trainer proud, Ira, following the kind of dating advice you'd find in a magazine clearly written by someone who's never actually been in a relationship, decides it's time to confess her feelings. She tries to kiss him to seal the deal, as if dating were some kind of business contract. Okarun stops her, looking more confused than a lost tourist in Tokyo. That's exactly when Momo walks in on the scene. Okarun's sweaty, missing his jacket, and Ira's standing way too close. To her, the image screams betrayal in high definition, and her heart shatters like glass. Suddenly, the world glitches like a corrupted matrix. The sky darkens, school walls morph into impenetrable barriers, and water begins to rise from the floor, turning the place into an aquatic death trap. Momo gets trapped, furious over Okarun's lies while he's stuck on the other side with Ira. He explains that the anomaly is the work of the same aliens who attacked before, because apparently they don't know when to quit. The Serpo aliens materialize, confirming his suspicions. Their goal is crystal clear. They want his banana organ, a source of rare power for some very questionable scientific purposes. The problem? Okarun can't transform. It's like Momo's presence is acting as a kind of antivirus, suppressing his curse, and then Ira bursts in, misreading everything as usual. In her eyes, the aliens are demons sent by Momo, and she's the chosen one destined to vanquish them and rescue Takakura from evil's clutches. Things couldn't be more of a mess, even if they tried to make it worse. She confesses her feelings for Okarun, only to be instantly captured by the invaders like a B-movie heroine destined to die first. The Serpos unveil an upgraded plan. They now want to harvest Ira and Okarun's organs simultaneously, a horror-themed buy one get one free deal. Right at the moment of harvest, Momo's psychokinesis explodes like a glitter bomb, forming a shield that repels the alien tech and saves them both. Goalkeeper-level reflexes. Eat your heart out. With no choice but to cooperate or die, the team joins forces to face off against the mind-controlled temp worker now being used as a Serpo puppet. While Momo acts as a human firewall, blocking the alien's psychic commands, Okarun and Ira form an unlikely tag team to take the enemy down. Momo might not have brute strength, but she makes up for it with agility and tactical awareness, spotting the weak point and taking the enemy out with surgical precision. The victory lasts about as long as a kid's birthday party. From the depths, a colossal creature nicknamed Nessie emerges, flooding the school and turning the battlefield into a nightmare water park. Trapped underwater, panic spreads. Momo begins to drown. Thinking fast or desperately, Okarun channels Turbo Granny, using super speed to launch himself like a human torpedo and rescue Momo just in time. Trying to cut costs, because even aliens have budget cuts, the Serpos fuse the knocked-out fighter with Nessie. The new hybrid beast combines high-pressure water cannons and devastating mantis-style punches. Backed into a corner like a rat in an underwater maze, Okarun notices a fatal flaw. The mantis punches loose power out of water, and the recoil throws the creature off balance. The plan: lure the monster onto dry land, where it's vulnerable. With one more burst of Turbo Granny speed, they run up the walls like video game characters, baiting the creature into a dry hallway. On solid ground, the monster attacks with full force, but just as predicted, its own punch backfires, shattering its body like cheap glass. The group collapses on the floor. They're discovered by other students who, of course, totally misinterpret the scene, as always happens in anime. Post-showdown, reality hits like a hangover. After a party, Okarun starts connecting the dots with full-on detective logic. Aliens can't directly invade Earth because of the yokai, guardian spirits that act like a supernatural defense system. That's why they're hunting humans with special powers, like rare Pokemon, to study them and develop tech that can neutralize Earth's guardians. His theory also suggests that Okarun's family heirloom was stolen for shady scientific research. It's basically like getting your personal data hacked, only literally. While concerns about an alien invasion start to grow, the more urgent issue is school gossip, spreading faster than a viral meme on social media. Trying to protect Momo, Okarun offers to take the blame, but she refuses to make up excuses. She doesn't care what people think. A punk rock attitude that'd be admirable if it didn't have consequences. Things spiral out of control when Momo's friend comes up with a wild love triangle theory, painting her as the villain in a teenage soap opera. Rumors explode like a virus wrecking a hard drive. Ira, feeling guilty for starting the rumors, tries to defend Momo, but only ends up making things worse. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. She runs off, ashamed, but before they can have a serious talk, the same alien who attacked them earlier reappears. This time, badly injured, like a soldier returning from war. They rush him to Momo's grandma, who's basically an ER doctor for supernatural beings. The alien shares a heartbreaking story that could make anyone cry. His son is dying of a rare illness, and he came to Earth to earn money for treatment, taking dangerous jobs because he's considered weak in his own world. Moved, Okarun offers up his family jewel to help, but Momo scolds him, saying a quick fix won't solve a long-term problem. It's the grandma, with her sharp instincts as a seasoned medium, who notices something strange. The alien's blood smells and looks exactly like milk. She deduces that his species' blood is essentially the same as cow's milk on Earth. The cure? Regular Earth milk. Problem solved with a quick trip to the local supermarket. Overflowing with gratitude that could melt a stone-cold heart, the alien leaves in peace. The teens convince Grandma to buy them new school uniforms because after saving an alien's life, they deserve some decent clothes. But peace lasts about as long as a TV commercial. A boy named Gigi shows up at the house, and Grandma reveals he's Momo's childhood friend and first love. Okarun is clearly rattled, like someone seeing their ex show up at a wedding. The arrival of Momo's first love adds a whole new layer of tension to the group, just as theories about the true nature of Earth's monsters keep expanding like a universe in inflation mode. Love triangle? Check. check. Aliens? Check. Ghosts? Check. Momo's life has officially turned into a K-drama mixed with the X-Files. Surprise turns to shock when Grandma announces that Gigi is moving in with them. Okarun reacts with suspicion and jealousy that would make any telenovela teen proud, while Ira makes a brief cameo tossing out theories about Ragnarok before vanishing like a well-written side character. At a dinner that feels more like a dysfunctional family reunion, Gigi reveals the real reason for his visit. His family moved into a mountain house haunted by an entity so terrifying it could give Stephen King nightmares. Whatever's in that house made his parents sick and overwhelmed every spiritualist who tried to exorcise it. Momo's grandma was the last hope, the final boss, so to speak. The catch? Her powers only work within city limits, like Wi-Fi with bad signal. So now the mission to cleanse the cursed house falls on Momo. No pressure. Back at school, Gigi joins as the new transfer student and instantly becomes popular, much to Okarun's horror, who fears Momo might fall back for her old flame. But the awkward love triangle is put on hold when a new yokai appears. A living anatomy mannequin attacks in the street. Okarun transforms to fight, and the group chases the creature to a scrapyard that looks like a graveyard for forgotten junk. There, Momo reveals she snatched the creature's heart during the first encounter, using it like an invisible leash to stop him from escaping. Plot twist: the mannequin, named Taro, isn't a threat. He's just desperately searching for Hana, a discarded mannequin from a different generation, and the love of his life. Their tragic love story hits home for Okarun, who finds a reflection of his own messy romantic struggles. With newfound determination, like a true protagonist stepping into his arc, he declares the next stop: Gigi's haunted house. Because obviously, in the world of Dandadan, solving your romantic drama by exorcising demons makes perfect sense. To solve the issue of the anatomical model drama, a sentence you probably never thought you'd read, Gigi reluctantly agrees to take Hana in, while Taro promises nightly visits. Momo's house turns into a hotel for horny anatomical models, which might just be the weirdest business idea in existence. Everyone gets ready for the trip straight to the exorcism at Gigi's house. On the train headed to their destination, Okarun realizes Gigi is actually a pretty decent guy, and the two even start to bond. They arrive in a town near a dormant volcano, which obviously doesn't scream impending danger at all. Momo inspects the house but can't sense any evil aura. Conclusion: the spirit is hiding, just like Turbo Granny did. Since nightfall is still a ways off, she decides to unwind at the local hot spring, leaving Okarun and Gigi alone for some good old male bonding. While Momo's away, the two guys start to hit it off, casually tossing a ball around like new friends. Naturally, the conversation shifts to Momo, and they find themselves in a friendly rivalry to prove who cares more about her. The debate, whether childhood love trumps a fresh new crush, unexpectedly strengthens the bond between the two rivals, because sometimes competition brings people closer.
Sure, that sounds good. I win, sucker!
Elsewhere, Momo's peaceful soak in the hot spring is abruptly interrupted by the kind of situation that would put any woman on high alert: a group of shady men watching her. With walls too high to climb, she quickly runs the numbers. Would her powers be enough to take down the leader and scare off the rest? Real-time survival math. Back at the house, Okarun and Gigi make a disturbing discovery. The house looks bigger on the outside than it is on the inside, like some kind of architectural optical illusion. While investigating, they find a hollow wall. Convinced that the answer to his parents' mysterious illness might lie beyond it, Gigi prepares to break it down, completely unaware of the danger Momo faces outside, and of whatever threat might be waiting behind the wall, because of course, they'd have to deal with multiple problems at once. It'd be way too easy if it were just one monster at a time. Tonight is shaping up to be long, dangerous, and absolutely unforgettable for everyone involved. That's when the Kito family makes their entrance, like a squad of bad vibes in human form. Calling them hostile would be putting it lightly. Their distrust is off the charts, especially toward Okarun, who apparently gives off strong, problematic medium energy. Gigi shows up to explain that the Kito family took him in, but took in here means barely tolerating with thinly veiled disdain. They treat him like an unwelcome freeloader, and when they see Okarun, things escalate to full-blown intimidation mode. Enter the family matriarch Naki Kito, who grills Okarun with the intensity of a prosecutor chasing a confession. In a miraculous stroke of anime luck, Okarun names Gigi's favorite soccer team and manages to diffuse the tension temporarily, but the calm lasts about as long as a New Year's resolution. The matriarch accuses Gigi of lying about bringing a girl into the house, dropping the threat like a sword of Damocles hanging by a thread. Meanwhile, Momo visits the Tsuchinoko shrine like a tourist hunting for selfies, but finds a lot more. The shrine priest shares a local legend straight out of a historian's nightmare. 2 centuries ago, human sacrifices were made to a sacred dragon to keep the volcano calm. Plot twist: the Tsuchinoko itself is a fabricated mascot meant to boost tourism, basically Japan's answer to Bigfoot with merch, but the human sacrifice part, very real. The priest's goal: prevent ancient rituals from making a cursed comeback as a viral internet trend. Back at the domestic house of horrors, Momo steps out of hiding and the Kito family goes full aggressive RPG NPC mode. Objects levitate like a poltergeist in Meltdown, and the family get backed into a corner like cartoon rats in a trap. That's when the matriarch drops the real bombshell. For 200 years, her family has protected the region by offering residents of the house as sacrifices to the Great Serpent, keeping the volcano dormant. A system that's worked for generations, but at a moral cost that's hard to justify. The devastating reveal: Gigi's parents were among the victims, and now Momo, Okarun, and Gigi are next on the serpent's menu. The floor gives way, turning into quicksand like something out of Indiana Jones, and the trio plummets into what feels like a literal descent into hell. They land in a vast underground cavern lined with old houses, ruins of past sacrificial altars, telling the grim tale of centuries of ritual offerings. And then she appears. The Great Serpent emerges, a monstrous creature so massive it makes Godzilla look like a pet lizard. But Okarun, finally putting his cryptozoology knowledge to use, identifies the shocking truth. It's no serpent at all. It's a giant Mongolian death worm, an ancient carnivorous cryptid known as Kuragari, and it's probably starving after centuries of sleep. As the Kito family welcomes the beast like die-hard fans at a championship game, the trio scrambles into one of the abandoned houses, desperate and out of options, with a monstrous threat literally drooling at their doorstep, because apparently, discovering that ancient rituals are real is just the beginning of the nightmare. Mind control becomes a real-time nightmare when the worm's psychic waves turn friends into enemies. Under the influence of what feels like despair Wi-Fi, the group turns on itself in a suicidal frenzy that makes a horror film look like a comedy. Gigi struggles to restrain Momo and Okarun, who beg for death as if life were an unbearable curse. Carrying them both on his back, Gigi tries to escape through chaos that feels like a psychological zombie apocalypse. In the middle of it all, a mysterious force awakens, like an app you didn't know you had installed. The evil eye emerges, and its curse acts like antivirus software, neutralizing the worm's signal like malware getting blocked. Sanity is restored, but the revelation comes at a terrible cost. Gigi realizes this newfound power was the true cause behind his parents' suicide attempt years ago. The origin of the evil eye reads like a psychological horror film. A lonely boy, feared and despised by the villagers who called him cursed. The result? He was buried alive beneath the house, and the combination of hatred and solitude fermented into a curse as powerful as decades-old resentment. Moved by empathy, the very thing that might doom him, Gigi ignores Turbo Granny's warnings and descends into the lower levels of the house. There, beneath the floorboards, he finds ancient ruins stacked like architectural Jenga blocks. Deep underground, he encounters the spirit of the evil eye, but instead of fighting, he offers friendship, hoping to end the boy's suffering. It's like trying to hug a centuries-old trauma, believing love alone can heal everything. The spirit accepts, but like any bargain with a supernatural entity, the price only becomes clear after the deal is done. The evil eye possesses Gigi's body.
At last, I have control of this body.
His hair turns snow white in an instant, and the spirit, now in control, declares its intent to use Gigi's body to wipe out humanity, because obviously, revenge is best served cold, and in a borrowed body. Momo's grandmother explains that Gigi had always harbored immense, latent spiritual power, like a nuclear battery waiting to be activated, making him the perfect vessel for the entity. What was meant to be a rescue mission turns into the most traumatic showdown possible. Okarun and Momo must now fight their own friend to survive. It's like realizing realizing the person you trust most has become the final boss, and there's no way to reload an earlier save. The tension of the looming battle is suddenly broken by a weird, looping conversation about the meaning of the word challenging, because even in existential crises, language confusion still finds a way in. Everyone pauses in confusion, as if reality just lagged in the middle of an already impossible situation. But the truth remains, they're now up against an enemy who knows their every move, every weakness, every secret, and worst of all, he wears the face of a friend. Trapped in an underground pit that looks more like a post-apocalyptic gladiator arena, Okarun and Momo face off against the Mongolian deathworm, a creature that spews poisonous gas like a leaking chemical plant. Its only weakness? Sunlight. The problem? They're buried deeper than a politician's secrets during an election year. With the air turning as unbreathable as a subway car during rush hour, Okarun proposes a desperate plan that would make even a Cirque du Soleil acrobat break a sweat. He's going to launch Momo into the air, and she'll use her ghost hands to propel herself the rest of the way out. It's basically a human catapult powered by panic and questionable physics. Against all odds, the risky move works, and Momo reaches the surface, vowing to return with help like a true superhero on a mission. Meanwhile, down below, Okarun confronts the spirit that's taken over his friend, a clash that feels like group therapy mixed with supernatural martial arts. Furious over Momo getting hurt, because even while possessed, he still cares about her, Okarun unleashes a devastating barrage of attacks, like a video game infinite combo in real life.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
He pounds Gigi with dozens of hits in a display of raw power that makes the UFC look like a playground slap fight. On the surface, Momo doesn't find a rope, but she does find a solution only a panic-stricken brain could invent. She sets the house on fire to draw attention, like some kind of primitive SOS signal. It works. Firefighters and police arrive, but don't believe a word of her story. Turns out giant underground deathworm isn't in the emergency response manual. As they try to detain her like someone in full psychotic break, Momo spots the firefighters' hoses and has a light bulb moment worthy of a science fair miracle. Just like earthworms surface after the rain to breathe, the fire burning through the oxygen will force the Mongolian deathworm up, or it'll suffocate. The plan works perfectly. The creature bursts out of the ground like Moby Dick breaching the sea, only to be instantly disintegrated by sunlight like a vampire who forgot sunscreen. The cursed house collapses behind it, crumbling like a house of cards in a hurricane. Meanwhile, back underground, Okarun and Turbo Granny are stuck in the worm's goop, screaming for help. A volcano erupts like nature throwing a cosmic tantrum, blanketing the village in panic and ash, turning day into a full-blown apocalypse. The furious villagers blame Momo for the mountain's wrath, because when a natural disaster hits, there always has to be someone to blame, right? They believe the death of the great serpent triggered the eruption, as if the creature was some kind of geological thermostat keeping the volcano in sleep mode. As she flees like the lead in a disaster movie, Momo deciphers an ancient legend using the kind of logic her ancestors clearly lacked. The dragon that rises to the heavens wasn't the serpent at all. It was a geyser, a natural early warning system that got completely misread due to generations of fear and ignorance. The villagers, now led by the Keto family, who've turned into an impromptu doomsday cult, try to capture Momo for a sacrifice that's not going to solve anything, but at least scratches that human itch to find someone to blame. To fight both the zealots and the fire, Momo comes up with a wild idea that mixes engineering with sheer desperation. She drags the carcass of the giant worm and uses it as a colossal fire hose. She sprays monster goop onto the lava like a kaiju-sized fire extinguisher. During the fight against the flames, which looks like Lord of the Rings Geological Edition, the local temple priest reveals that he was once a student of Momo's grandmother. He was sent to protect Momo, arriving just in time to go toe-to-toe with the Keto family, who now literally worship the volcano as an angry god. Things take a sharp turn when Gigi appears, now under the control of the evil eye. He reveals that Okarun wasn't enough to defeat it. Realizing the real threat isn't the volcano, but their possessed friend, the villagers finally stop chasing Momo and decide to join her, because nothing brings people together like a common enemy that can kill everyone equally. In a team effort that feels like a countryside version of the Avengers, they manage to trap Gigi inside Taro, the anatomical model. It's like a reverse Pokemon, capturing a human inside a dummy. With the Gigi threat temporarily contained, the focus shifts back to the lava, which remains a very real real and very hot problem. A new panic sets in. Okarun and Turbo Granny are trapped, surrounded by magma like endgame level NPCs with no escape route. Momo, unable to use her powers because even superheroes have limits, watches helplessly, like a tech support agent who can't fix the bug. But it turns out the worm goo covering the area where they were trapped worked as makeshift insulation, protecting them from the deadly heat long enough to be rescued. After a dramatic rescue, the team gathers in a post-trauma therapy circle. Momo apologizes for not being able to stop Gigi on her own, while Okarun admits he hated being the damsel in distress. Despite their individual failures, which could have shattered any team, they're just relieved to be alive. Their bond grows stronger in the face of destruction, because nothing unites people like surviving the impossible together. But something tells me the trouble is just getting started, and the next threat is already creeping in on the horizon. An alien named Mantesian returns to Earth as a cosmic immigrant in search of a better life. He explains that his species breathes liquid because oxygen is just too mainstream, and that he needs milk to keep his child alive. He decides to settle nearby, posing as a small-town entrepreneur about to start a business. Meanwhile, the group discovers that performing an exorcism on Gigi is way too risky. His spiritual power is so intense that the process could damage him permanently, like surgery without anesthesia. Seiko reveals that the evil eye inside him is still young, like a rebellious teenager, but it's growing in strength like an electric bill in the summer. The situation changes when they discover a bizarre weakness, almost like a programming glitch. Cold water triggers the evil eye, while hot water brings back regular Gigi. It's like having a friend with a split personality controlled by a thermostat. To deal with the threat living under the same roof, Seiko comes up with a plan that blends preventive medicine with military strategy. Gigi is confined to the city, protected by a barrier, and everyone gets thermos bottles filled with hot water as an emergency tool, a supernatural survival kit that fits in a backpack. Now working at a dairy farm, because even aliens need to make a living. The focus shifts back to the team, who must adapt to this new reality. Still in his ghostly floating form, Okarun walks awkwardly with Momo, tangled together like a pair of earbuds, heading to the hospital to visit Gigi's parents. At the hospital, a TV news report announces that the Kito family has been arrested on charges of homicide and unlawful imprisonment, but the leader remains at large, like that villain in a series who always escapes at the end of the season. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, Naki reveals herself as an underground creature swearing revenge for the destruction of her beast, a final boss promising a sequel. Realizing they need more help to keep an eye on Gigi, because babysitting a possessed friend is a full-time job, Momo invites Ira to move in with them. Despite her reluctance to be seen with a group that attracts trouble like honey attracts bees, she agrees. Soon after, Gigi finally manages to separate from Taro, utterly exhausted like a marathon runner after 26 miles, but back to his normal self. A new routine begins in chaos at Momo's house, which now feels like a college dorm for superpowered teens. During dinner, which was supposed to be a peaceful family moment, disaster strikes with the comedic timing of a slapstick sketch. Okarun accidentally spills cold soy sauce on Gigi. The room explodes in screams, like a scene from a horror film, because cold water means Evil Eye is back. And just like that, domestic life turns into a minefield, where even condiments can trigger a personal apocalypse. Because clearly, there's no such thing as a normal life in the world of Dandadan.